This is a CBS7 First Alert Weather Day. Now, an update from the First Alert Weather Center.
All day, the CBS7 team of meteorologists have been keeping an eye on the severe weather throughout the Permian Basin. You're looking now at videos and photos of a landspout in Fort Stockton and quarter-sized hail in Andrews that was earlier today. Good evening, I'm Lauren Munt, joined with meteorologist Justin Lopez to talk a little bit about these storms. Justin, we saw everything today, from the hail and landspouts I mentioned, and even tornado warnings. But it all seems to have calmed down a little bit in the recent hours. Should West Texans be preparing for any more severe storms today?
Well, Lauren, it seems like you're right. We are seeing a wind down in our current conditions. We're seeing our radar with a little less activity than what we were dealing with earlier. These storms are a little out of our area. We're watching this severe thunderstorm warning right now, impacting the Kent counties and, well, impacting Kent and Stonewall counties. But luckily, like I said, this is out of our viewing area, but we are still going to keep an eye on it anyway, with hail sizes up to about a quarter and also wind gusts of up to 60 miles per hour. Now, this storm cell has been giving us trouble pretty much the entire day today. It is heading toward the city of Sonora, and again, it is creating a lot of rain, really heavy rainfall with it, along with quarter-sized hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds. And because of the fact that we've been dealing with a lot of rainfall in this particular region along the Pecos River, there is a flash flood warning still in effect until 10:30 p.m. tonight. So it will be going on for the next couple of hours, well, for the next hour and a half at least. Now, we are still dealing with, as you can see, there's still potential for storms to become severe. As we've been watching, those are in the same exact area where we are seeing that, but also we are still dealing with a red flag warning for dry and warm conditions. So again, keep track of all that here with us on CBS7.
We're tracking crime in Odessa now, where an inmate escaped police custody today. CBS7 was told by the Ector County Sheriff's Office that the suspect was arrested near Odessa Regional Medical Center. That was after the inmate ran away from a deputy who was trying to handcuff him at the Ector County Courthouse. This is all the information we've got on this arrest at the time, but we'll of course continue to keep you updated as we learn more. And from bustin' criminals to bustin' clay, let's take a look at an event happening this week, which if you haven't already figured out, we're talking about the 11th annual Bustin' for Badges. This event is the largest law enforcement fundraiser in the nation, and all the proceeds will benefit local law enforcement agencies, helping pay for much needed equipment and more.
I think this is one of the most unique events in that you have 4 different agencies across 2 towns all working together for a common goal, and that's to help raise funds for our local law enforcement. And the fact that the community has an opportunity to impact all 4 of these agencies at one time is a really awesome event for everybody in the community and for law enforcement to get out and have a little fun at the same time.
Even though the event is completely filled for shooting slots, organizers of Bustin' for Badges encourage members of the public to come support and hang out with local law enforcement. And in 2023, almost $18 million in losses and 400 reports of scams were made to the FBI, and that's in Midland and Odessa. According to the FBI, so far in 2024, there have been over $5 million in losses and over 400 reports, again, just across Midland and Odessa. Those numbers are expected to rise. Earlier this year, homeowners got scammed by fake repairmen during the winter freeze. And now that the weather is getting warmer, a newer scam involving lawn work, is coming up.
If you're having someone, install a sprinkler system or come and, repair, make sure that they are a licensed person, and ask for a license. Someone that has a license is going to be willing to share that information with you.
For tips on how you can avoid scams like these, you can go to our website, CBS7.com. We've got a developing story for you now out of Ward County on I-20 near mile marker 63. You're looking at a derailment involving around 20 train cars. Texas Highway Patrol and Ward County deputies responded to it around 3 o'clock this afternoon. Here's what we know so far about the scene. No injuries have been reported. None of the train cars involved in the derailment were carrying hazardous material, and while we don't know the cause of this incident, we've confirmed that it was not caused by a car crash. Union Pacific has been notified and railroad personnel are on the scene. No further information is available at this time. And in your election headlines, the city of Midland has released early voting numbers in the special election for the empty at-large Midland City Council seat. Officials say that only 3.8% of the eligible 75,472 voters inside the city have cast an early ballot. Early voting ended on Tuesday with 2,936 ballots received in person and by mail. The candidates for this seat last filled by the late Dan Corrales include Justin Blank, John Burkholder, Eric Davidson, James R. Bull Henry, and Ben Roberts. The city of Midland says that the winner of the special election will serve the remainder of the at-large term, which ends in January 2025. Should that person seek to serve as an at-large council representative for another term, he would be required to run for office again in November. And CBS7 is once again preparing to bring you exclusive content from the annual Permian Basin Honor Flight. This year, 100 Korea and Vietnam War veterans across West Texas will get to experience many emotions while they tour monuments and museums that are dedicated to their service. This will be the first trip for all 100 veterans, allowing them to speak and meet other veterans while also seeing monuments and get the chance to process and maybe heal some of the wounds that they've been carrying.
Whether it's physically or mentally or both. They seem to kind of go back to their younger days when we get on this trip, and they kind of forget about some of the ailments and the hurts and the bad memories, and because they're with a plane full of other brothers in arms.
CBS7's Jay Hendricks and Noe Ortega will be on the trip, and they'll share daily recaps throughout their time in D.C. And today, the Ellen Noel Art Museum hosted Demolition and Donuts. That's part of their renovation process. Renovations began last September, and they'll allow expansion to both the museum's educational programs and their art exhibits. The original museum was built in the 1980s, but it's really outdated. So today, workers tore down the museum's facade. And now the next step is to rebuild it, with an entirely new design that will represent Odessa's art community.
When you see that facade go up, and you're going to drive by, you're going to see activity in there, you're going to see it full of light and full of people, and that's what it is. The museum is about Odessans and people that visit here. And so part of this infrastructure is going to allow us we'll be back up to industry standards.
The renovations cost $20 million, and they should be completed at the end of 2025. Some education news for you now. If you've got a green thumb, it's time to work fast. ECISD's career and technical students have already sold over half of their 2,000 plants in the first day of their annual plant sale. And there's still 2 days left. The event, more than 20 years old, benefits the students. All funds raised go back into the greenhouse, so the sale can happen every year. The plants are grown, potted, and sold by the ECISD high schoolers as part of a horticulture and agriculture certification plan. And it's a great opportunity to learn professional skills.
Yeah, like I said, we studied plants all year, so I kind of know what they all are, and I got to tell people what they all are. And we also did a lot with customer service and everything.
The sale is on Dunn Street in West Odessa from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. And starting tomorrow, all the plants are 50% off. And Rankin ISD has named their new superintendent after 7 months of searching, Mr. Shea Murphy. He brings 22 years of experience with him, and he wants to see Rankin ISD continue to succeed in all areas. Welcome, Mr. Murphy, to West Texas. And Ben Carson reading rooms opened at both Marcy Elementary and Washington Elementary schools today. The Ben Carson Reading Project is an initiative of the Carson Scholars Fund, and it's meant to create a literacy-enriched environment for children to become proficient and enthusiastic readers. Let's talk some local sports now, where it's been a fantastic season for the Odessa Compass girls golf team. What's next for them is another appearance in the state tournament. This is the 4th straight year that the team has made it this far. And for Coach Jennifer Lopez and Lindsay Lavender's squad, the confidence is high and the hard work has been done in order to bring a state championship back to Odessa.
We've grown, we've learned together. Just as much as they've learned, I've learned. And I feel like we're a lot more prepared this time than we've ever been before.
It feels great because we put so much work into it. I feel like each of us have our strengths and each of us work really great in the classroom, whether it be sports or whether it be academics or extracurricular activities. I feel like we all do good, and I'm very proud of us.
We're such a young team, and also we went to state last year as the favorites, and they wanted us to win, So this year, going in as the favorite again, like, we want to win and we know we can win. It feels different this time.
Taking it over to Midland, the Texas High School Coaches Association has named Legacy's Clint Hartman as the Coaching Beyond the Game award winner. Hartman has led the Rebels to 6 straight district titles, and he hopes to make it 7 this year. For even more local sports coverage, be sure to tune in to CBS7 News at 10 for sports with sports director Jair Brooks Davis. And still ahead, we're continuing to talk about severe weather, this time across the nation, as Nebraska residents recover from a series of tornadoes last week. Nebraska residents are beginning the recovery process after tornadoes tore through parts of the state last week. Johan Marin reports.
Friday's storms did not discriminate. Here in Blair, you can see it left lots of destruction and debris, but the community here is working hard to rebuild what was lost.
For Ken Tracy, it's hard to figure out where to start cleaning up.
You know, it's tough because there's a lot of emotion tied up in a house. It's something you kind of attach to.
After living here for 18 years, Tracy has no other choice but to keep moving forward. Like many of his neighbors also affected by the tornadoes.
You're going to have patience and work with contractors and other, insurance and all the other stuff to get all the ducks in a row to get it done. I don't expect to be back out here for at least a year.
While some like Tracy were tough on luck, others like Kate Burleson with Roscoe's Rescue Ranch tell 6 News it was a close call.
The animals were okay and the shelters were still intact. We did have tree damage here. We were fortunate to have volunteers come on Saturday, and they worked hard and we got a lot of that cleaned up.
Blair Animal Shelter is also feeling the aftermath of the tornadoes.
Probably get too many trees.
They're taking in numerous lost and even injured pets.
4 we took in yesterday. One of them had a severely broken leg and a lot of pain that had to go through surgery and be amputated. One other one had a broken pelvis and she actually is pregnant as well. So we have the medical care to go with that. And then 2 of them are very sick and have pneumonia.
Erickson says they're getting at capacity, but they'll never say no to their furry friends.
We'll put them in stacking kennels, cages, anything we can.
While the storms hit this small town community hard, their resilience to keep going remains strong.
Everybody sticks together, which is awesome. I mean, we have a wonderful community here.
On your side, I'm Johan Marin, 6 News.
And today we've seen a lot of activity in terms of our severe weather. But are we expecting any more? And what shall we expect tomorrow? We'll talk about that coming up next.
This is a CBS7 First Alert Weather Day. Now an update from meteorologist Justin Lopez.
Good evening, everybody. Yes, today is still a First Alert Weather Day because although we have seen a big wind down in our activity here, there are still some storms that are pretty powerful going on throughout some portions close to our region. This is a severe thunderstorm warning that is in effect for Stonewall County. Y'all are seeing some pretty big hail. We're also dealing with 80-mile-per-hour winds. So that's the main thing with this storm, the fact that you have 80-mile-per-hour winds and hail that is the size of quarters. Now there is another severe thunderstorm warning that's about to be impacting the city of Sonora. You can see it's making a line and it's pushing toward the city of Sonora. This particular storm cell is making hail that is a 1/4 or the size of a quarter, and also 60-mile-per-hour winds. So it will be getting to y'all here in just a moment. But because we've been dealing with a lot of heavy rainfall in our region, right along the Pecos River, Ira Ann, y'all are going to be dealing with some flooding. So y'all still have that flash flood warning in effect with y'all. Now, luckily, we are starting to see our wind down, like I said, and our activity, and things are starting to push their way off toward the east, and they will continue to do so as we go throughout the rest of the evening and then into the overnight. But then we'll see things clear out before some more cloud coverage comes in tomorrow morning. And then finally we'll clear out and calm down in our area once again for tomorrow. Possibly seeing some more thunderstorm activity popping up as we head into Friday around the Abilene area and toward the Dallas-Fort Worth region, but then really calmer conditions are expected for us out here in the Midland Odessa. So as we've already mentioned, the potential for severe thunderstorms is still there. Numerous storms are still able to develop and become severe. Main threats are still large hail and damaging winds and, of course, flooding. Luckily, we've seen a drop off of that tornado threat. Current winds across the area, we're coming out out of the south here in Odessa at 20 miles per hour, 24 in Wink, and 22 out in Big Lake. And then in our gusts, we're at 35 miles per hour out in Wink, 29 in Odessa, and 32 in Big Lake. And then looking at our current temperatures across the region, we're sitting at 75 degrees in Midland, Big Spring, Odessa, 72 out in Andrews, 73 in Seminole, 75 out in Hobbs, and still 89 degrees, a toasty 89 degrees out in Presidio. So because we still have some warm temperatures and breezy conditions, we are also still dealing with a red flag warning that will last for the rest of this evening up until around 11 Mountain Time. Temperatures tonight are expected to drop to 62 degrees for Odessa, Midland, 61 in Monahans, and 58 in Alpine. Then warming up to the low 90s tomorrow for those of us in Midland, Odessa, 91. And then 93 for Big Spring, 86 in Alpine, 84 out in Marfa. In that 10-day forecast, we're going to see a cold front coming through tomorrow evening, which will cool our temperatures down for the weekend and also bring up rain chances once again for your Friday and your Sunday. For your Saturday and your Sunday.
Still ahead, we're continuing coverage on college campus protests across the nation. The latest up next. Campus protests against the war in Gaza are escalating across the country, with protesters and counter-protesters clashing at UCLA and hundreds of protesters arrested in New York City. Michael George has the latest from Columbia in New York.
UCLA canceled classes Wednesday following clashes between two protest groups over the war in Gaza.
It is causing a lot of issues for people feeling unsafe on both sides.
Overnight, counter-demonstrators launched what looked like fireworks into an encampment set up by pro-Palestinian protesters and also attempted to knock down the barriers in front of the camp. George Washington University in Washington, D.C. and the University of Texas, Dallas are among the latest colleges where protesters have set up encampments. Students are calling on the administration to divest from companies that support the war effort.
They know our demands. Until they meet them, our commitment is to stay in this space.
At the University of Wisconsin-Madison, a campus police spokesperson said 4 law enforcement officers were hurt trying to dismantle protesters' tents.
We are not asking protesters to leave. We support their constitutional right to be here. But the main issue we moved in today is because they were in violation of Chapter 18, which does not allow camping or camping equipment on campus property.
In New York City, police also began removing tents at Columbia University. Earlier, scuffles broke out after officers, at the request of the university, removed protesters from an academic building they'd been occupying.
The operation was organized, calm, and that there were no injuries or violent clashes.
The NYPD is expected to remain on campus through graduation later this month to prevent another encampment.
And while police were able to clear the tents at Columbia, pro-Palestinian students at nearby Fordham University set up a similar protest. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
Still ahead, if you've ever wanted to develop mutant powers, float away to the sky, or experience a purple rain, now you can. I'll tell you how. Next. All right, Justin, if you've ever wanted to travel to some truly unique places you may have heard about or seen on screen, you might be able to. Oh. But someday, not now.
Oh, okay.
That's thanks to Airbnb. Here are just a few of their new listings. You can live like the X-Men. if you rent this 2D animated recreation of Marvel's Animation's X-Mansion. It's located in Westchester, New York, and you'll be able to discover your mutant abilities and even train in the Danger Room. Then there's the iconic house from Disney and Pixar's animation Up. It's located in scenic New Mexico, which isn't very far from here.
No, it's pretty close.
It's a quick trip, and it comes with more than 8,000 balloons. And yes, the house really does float.
Wow, can it take me to Barbados?
Then for fans of music legend Prince, you can experience his Purple Rain house in Minneapolis for the first time ever. Prince purchased the home featured in the legendary film Purple Rain, but it's never been available to the public until now. These are some pretty crazy experiences with Airbnb.
No, seriously, would never even guess that. But luckily tomorrow we're going to be dealing with better weather if you do want to do any traveling across the area. At least
no lightning striking down your up house or anything like that?
No lightning striking down your up house. We are expecting temperatures to be a little on the warm side, ranging between the upper 80s, low 90s, 91 for Midland, Odessa. But getting rid of that humidity, getting rid of the thunderstorms that we've been dealing with. And we're also going to be seeing some thunderstorms, though, coming back in the forecast for the weekend. So keep that in mind whenever you do anything. I know the fiestas are coming up. So that's something you might want to keep in mind. Fiesta West Texas, the carnival. Never fails for there to be rain at the carnival,
And stick with CBS7 throughout those weekends for any First Alert weather updates. Thanks for watching CBS7 News at 9 on the CW. We've got more news coming up tonight at 10.